Hey guys, we'll get started in just a minute. Thanks for being with me tonight. I'm looking forward to building some models with you and talking about models. So we'll get going in just a moment. Hey guys, what's going on tonight? This is going to be a new thing that I hope to be able to do every week on Wednesday night. I decided that Wednesday nights is middle of the week, so I'm hopefully done catching up from the weekend, and it's not quite the next weekend yet. So I thought maybe I could get a regular thing going on Wednesday nights. It's 10 o'clock. The kids are in bed. My wife's inside watching her shows, doing what she wants to do. So I get to come back here and hang out with you guys. So just I don't know, don't really have anything scheduled other than just building models and talking about them. So I have maybe next week, maybe in future weeks, I've got some special guests that I want to bring on here with me and talk about some of the products that are coming out. Um, I know that our author Dana Bell, that's written our new TBD Devastator book, that by the way I have one of here, he's going to come on here with me in the next week or so and talk about the book. So that'll be exciting. David Doyle, who's written several of our books, uh, some of the other new books that have just shown up, he'll be on here with us as well. And who knows what we'll do going forward. And what I also want to do is when I don't have a guest scheduled, so to speak, um, if any of you are just hanging out in your model room and you've got your computer there, you can jump on here with me if you've got a webcam and show off what you're building. We can talk together about what's on our workbench or just whatever the new models that are coming out that we're excited to see coming because there's a lot of model kits coming out soon that are really going to be good. So, um, anyway, what I've got going on tonight, let's see, let me put this in here. You can see over here, this is my workbench for the moment. I'm always changing it, it seems, but I've got a B25J in progress. And the IPMS Nationals next year, there's a group that is hosting a B25 build group, and I have never joined a build group before. Um, but I'm going to join this one. and it's going to be pretty cool. I think it's a Facebook group. Last time I looked a day or two ago, I think we were up to like 60 guys that have committed to build and bring a B-25 to put on display. So that's going to be pretty cool. Their 48 scale is going to be the display. So it's going to be kind of impressive. I'm excited. I'm excited to be a part of that. And this is my build. The B-25 that I chose is the Lady Lil. It's a gunship nose or a whatever. And it was kind of hard to track one of these kits down because there's not really one available at the moment. But the old Monogram kit, a buddy of mine here locally had one and he sold it to me. So I'm getting going with it and having a good time so far. So, um, I don't know. I'm just going to work on this and see what you guys are up to. Carlos says he's working on a pair of 3D printed U.S. Navy tractors. What scale are you doing those in? Is that for a carrier or something? Let me know what that's for. And Barry, you're working on a Stearman. No, you're working on converting a Stearman. Okay, that's cool. And yes, too many models, not enough time. That's for sure. Oh, nice. Yeah, the print sign. I had a guy come up to the shop today, and he was showing me some of his photos that he took, and a lot of his were signed by the pilots of the various planes that he had pictures of. It was pretty cool. 48 scale tractors. Okay. Which kits are those? Oh, you said they're 3D printed. Okay. Yeah. And 3D print really opens up a whole, I don't know, a whole new range of available products. Um, you're able to pretty much have whatever you want. So it's kind of neat. But um, this kit, like I said, it's the old Monogram kit. The decals in this kit are not great. I don't like them. You can see the nose art is just very plain, very basic. It would do the job, but the detail and action book that we did on the B-25 last year, the front cover of that features this aircraft. And our buddy Peter 3D rendered that cover, and the artwork, or the decals, I guess I'll call it, the nose art on that 3D render. We created those. Those are a decal set that we have not released yet, but I'm going to have one of those printed for this kit and hopefully release those as a decal set that you or anybody else could buy. And it's pretty neat. I think it'll be a pretty good step up from this. And then, of course, all the other insignias and such, I'll use our new squadron decals that we made for that. So I think it's going to turn out pretty good. All of the stencils for this, Edward's got a really nice set of stencils. I haven't really looked at it yet. I hope and assume everything on here is what I can use for this particular aircraft, but it's a pretty detailed sheet, so I'm sure there's going to be several things on here I'll get to use. That's what it looks like. So I don't know. We got a little bit of work before I get to that point for sure. And then I don't even know what else I got. What did I get? Oh yeah, Edward's photo etch set for it. Some of these older kits, Edward and I'm sure others had a lot of things for it, but because the kits have been off the market for so long, some of these things have been discontinued. Edward just doesn't put them out because it's not really a need for it. So some of these things, I know they had like a Big Ed set, and that was hard to track down. I don't have any in stock, and they don't have any more, and so I don't know. just keep working on the plastic parts for now and see what I need. I know that I've got, I don't know where I put them, but Master Models has some of the gun barrels for this, and I'll use those, but I don't know where I put them. They're really nice though. Big step up from the plastic gun barrels. Uh, for the paint, I'm just going to be using Vallejo, I think. Um, I used to like using the Alclad lacquers, but I really want to give this Vallejo metal stuff a try. Um, I don't know. I've never used it, at least not for an aircraft. I've used it for other things, sci-fi figures and whatnot, but um, I'll give it a shot. I've got a. I tried it with this. This is something totally different. This is a 1/6 scale section for a B-17. That's for another project that I'm working on. Um, and the aluminum paint worked out pretty good for it. I gave it a kind of a roughed up look, but I don't know. It looks pretty cool. So I hope it works out for me for this B-25. But since it's for this build group for the nationals next year, it's just for fun. It's not being judged. It's not part of the contest. So it's just really a laid back, for fun only type of build. So um, I guess if my Vallejo paint doesn't work out for me, doesn't matter that much, right? So we'll see how that goes. Jim says he's working on a pure nostalgia build, 48 scale. Okay, that's cool. The P40, that'll be cool. Yeah, the 32 scale Devastator. Uh, you said you got one of those from us. That's an awesome kit. I had one here, and I did the what's in the box open review, and I started building it, and I was going to do a full build on it and paint it up and try to make it nice. And then all of a sudden, we realized we released the display base for it with the wood aircraft carrier wood section, and we were like, hey, we should probably have a Devastator built up to show this at the Nationals. So my what was going to be my nice pretty build became a hey, throw it together in an hour, and just so we have something to sit on the display base at the show to give an idea of the size of the kit and how it sits on the display base. So um, I got to buy me another one now, and because I still want to build one and get it all looking good because that's a really nice kit. And of course now they've got the float plane version coming, and that's kind of interesting to me. So now I don't know which one I want to build, but I guess we'll just see what happens. Oh, great job on the squadron catalog. Yeah, that was a lot of fun laying that out. I had originally told people that we were going to have it ready. I think last January, and we didn't finish it till like June. But it was way more involved than I thought it was going to be. But it turned out really good. It's huge. It weighs 5 pounds. So glad you got one. Glad you enjoyed it, and so thank you for that. Outlaw Paints. I don't know that brand. I'll have to check that out tomorrow. That's kind of cool sounding. Just olive drab paint from them. Okay, yeah, Jim, I'll check all Outlaw Paints out. That's neat. I hadn't heard of them. Hmm. Ah, from Australia. That's why I haven't heard of them. I bet. Okay, that's neat. Hey, and if anybody wants to get in here with me and show us what you're working on or talk, this is the link to do so. You can go there, get your webcam ready. I will see you, and then I can add you to the stream. We can talk, and you can show us your table, and show us what you're working on. So if anybody's interested in doing that, feel free. That'd be great to have you come on the show with me. Have any of you built this B25 before? I've never built one in 48 scale. I was doing all my planes in 72 scale, but this year I've moved up to 48 scale, and it's I guess it's kind of funny when you think that you like one scale, and then all of the sudden you get interested in another scale, and you have to go buy all of the same subjects that you're interested in your new scale. It's I guess that's just part of it. 350th scale Ford, not that I know of, at least not in a plastic kit. It would not surprise me. And perhaps there's one that I just don't know about yet, but the Gerald R. Ford that is coming is 700 scale. Magic Factory is doing that, and it is due out sometime early 2024. I don't have the price on it yet, and I don't have the exact release date, but we'll have that information hopefully soon. So that's going to be a pretty cool kit. And somebody will end up doing it in 350 scale before too long. I just don't know who it's going to be yet, but that's too good of a subject for these guys to pass up on doing. And yes, this is the monogram kit. It is it's this one. Yep. So that's which kit this is. This to me, a thin cement is like the best thing ever. Any of y'all tried their fast setting, or I think it's called quick setting version with the green top? I've got some, but haven't really used it much yet. I can't decide if I like it. I think I might just be so used to this their original version. Carlos, one of your first kits you built. Well, good. This is the first time I have built this kit, and it definitely shows its age, but I think it's going to turn out just fine. Between the shop and family, how many kits do I average a year? I assume you mean how many kits do I get to build a year? That is a interesting question. I don't really know. The my problem is a lot of my kits, kind of like the Devastator I was just talking about. I start them, and then they get to a certain point, and I end up using them for something. A lot of the kits that I build are um, the prototypes of whether it's a Blue Ridge Models kit that we're producing, and I'm building it up to make sure everything fits, or whatever. So sometimes they don't get 100% built, but usually if I'm building up a prototype or something, I'll get it far enough along to make sure everything fits, make sure everything is good, and then get it far enough along that I like it and it looks good in my display shelf. So if we're talking about kits that are done to the point where I will show them to somebody, I don't know. I don't know. Let me think. So this year I've built. Um, this year actually I have actually finished models that I started in previous years, and I'm just gonna throw out a number of maybe half a dozen so far this year. I've finished 2 or 3 figure models. I like to go to Wonderfest each year. I finished up 2 or 3 figure models that I had intended to take to the contest, but I ended up not taking them anyway. And then the Devastator, even though, like I said, I didn't get it done like I wanted it and didn't even paint it. I guess we can count that one. Um, I did a couple of kits with my kids this year. My oldest son's getting kind of interested in it, and this was one that we all worked on together. We all bought the same Hulk kit at Wonderfest, and I did one, and both of my boys did. So that was fun, and he uh, he got into doing an F-14, a 72 scale F-14, and I was supposed to do one with him, but I ended up just watching him, and that was a lot of fun. But uh, I'm trying to get him going on a new one. I don't know what he's going to pick yet, but uh, I guess we'll just wait and see. But like everybody, I'm sure I don't get to build near as many as I would like to, but that's just how it goes, I guess. What about you? How many do you get to build? Oh, looks like Jim's wanting to come on with us. Jim, you ready here? Here we go. Hey, Jim. How are you? I can't hear you. Have you got your mic on? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. These things are funny sometimes. See if you can get that mic going. You've got your mic muted, Jim, somehow. I'm not sure how. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's muted. You want to jump out and jump back in? Yeah, try that. These computers and microphones and video cameras are a lot of fun sometimes. You have a hard time finishing kits because you don't have an airbrush. Yeah, I uh, I don't know what I'd do without my airbrush because I'm a terrible paint, like using a brush. I'm terrible at it. A hand painter, I guess. Um, so I don't know. I've had an airbrush ever since I started, and I'm I don't know what I'd do. I wouldn't be able to finish models at all. I don't think if I didn't have the airbrush. So, but some people are really, really, really good with a brush. I've seen some paint jobs with from some guys I know with a brush. I'm like, how in the world did you do that? But guess it's just all about what you're used to and what you're good at. So it can be done. Hopefully Jim will get back on here in a minute if he gets his microphone working. I don't know what was going on with that. And again, if anybody else wants to jump on here and say hello, the link is above in the chat there. I can put it back here real quick. in case you need that link again. I'm going to use these figures or not. Didn't realize this kit had figures in it. Maybe I will. It's kind of cool. Hey, there's my babe. My wife's jumped in here and said hello. See if I could get her up here building models with me. Now that'd be something. Oh, Jim's back. Let's see if I'm gonna get you in here, Jim. Let's see if this works this time. Still can't. Am I the only one that can't hear Jim? Can anybody else hear Jim? And just so everybody knows, the live chat to me, there's about a 10-second delay. So if you say something and I don't immediately respond, keep in mind there's about a 10-second delay from YouTube. And he cannot hear you either. Jim, did you go in the before you came into the studio, did you do the mic check and make sure that it was connected and it was working? Huh. We yeah, I don't know. I'm very sorry. I don't know why that's not working. I can't hear you, but all of a sudden I can hear your speakers. Here, let me cut this music off that is playing. Let's see. All right, try it now. Yeah, I don't know. I just can't hear it. Yeah, another thing you might try is you can pull that link up on your phone. Maybe try that. Yeah, try that real quick and see if that'll work. Yeah, I'd love to talk with you. Yeah, something's going on.
Are you hearing me now?
There
No?
you are. Hey,
Okay.
Jim.
Hey, you get now you can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good,
Good,
because
good,
I
good,
can
good.
hear you. All right.
Yeah,
Hello,
awesome.
hello, everyone out there. Hey, Brandon, how was
Hey,
I just got the notification that this chat was up, and so I thought I'd join in, and then you offered the opportunity to come on, and it's something I've wanted to
absolutely.
do because I do check into a lot of discussions, mostly with guys on YouTube over in the UK.
Oh,
So
okay,
this is the
okay.
first one I've come across well, there's others in America, of course, Plastic Posse and those guys, but
Sure.
yeah. So here I am. So
Awesome. Well, good. I'm glad the microphone started working. I
I
was starting to wonder
don't
if it
ask
was
me how
me.
I figured it out. I must have stumbled upon it, but that's how I am with technology. I think I
That
know something, but I really don't. But
that's all
anyway,
right.
that monogram kit you have, is that one with raised panel lines or recessed?
I haven't even looked to see. This has it's raised.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Those
Yep.
are great kits. Those old monogram kits. I'll tell you, I've got a Devastator from 1974, an old 48 scale one, and actually I've got two of them that have got enough parts to make one, and I fully intend on building it because it's the only monogram kit I have in my stash. But I have a reverence for those old kits because, for one thing, they're actually pretty easy to build because of
Right.
the basic part count. And from what I've been told, a lot of guys who know this better than I do, that they scale out and are more accurate in shape or hold up, I should say, in that department over the decades, as opposed to newer models that come along that may be a little bit off here and there.
Right.
So that's what I'm going to do with it. I was tempted to buy the Great Wall kit when it first came out, but after looking over my old the old model I have, I'm going to stick with it and build it, just like I'm
Okay.
doing with this Otaki kit. I've got
Okay.
about 20 of those old Otaki 48 scale models. I picked them up here, there, and everywhere at swap meets and everything, and I fully intend on building them because they're very simple, basic kits that go together well.
Huh. Well, the talking about the 48 scale Devastator, did you see that Hobby Boss has announced that they're going to have one coming out next year?
No, I have not, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. They've moved pretty fast.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, Hobby Boss and Trumpet are coming out of the same
Right,
factory. It
right.
just makes sense since they just did the 32 scale one. So, I will be interested to see how that one comes out. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't know how it's going to compare to the to your kit or to the Great Wall kit, but either way, it's coming, and it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry about that. I'm just checking. I'm just sending a message to my upstairs my
I
the guy I'm
understand.
splitting the house with. I live down in the basement. He lives upstairs. He's my best friend. He's my model partner. He's got a bench right next to mine.
There you go.
I wanted to send him a message saying, "Hey, I'm on TV. If you want to tune in on YouTube."
There you
But
go. Well, so you build 48 scale mostly, or
well, I build
you do a little bit of everything?
excuse me. Actually, my selection's a little on the linear side of 35th scale armor, 48 scale aircraft, and 35th scale figures. So it's not really a whole lot of variety in there. It's not very
Okay.
eclectic.
Okay.
I do have some jets in there. Most of my aircraft are World War II era, and the armor the same thing.
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. Oh God, long time now. I've been building since I was 11 years old, which for all you youngsters out there goes back to 1976. So
Okay. Well, I enjoy going to as many shows as I can, and I can't help but notice whenever I go to these shows, I am amongst the younger crowd, and I wish more guys my age and even younger would get into this, but um, it makes me happy when I see my 11-year-old excited about building models. Now, that might not stick because, like so many times it happens, he'll be driving around soon, and but that's how it happened to me. I was telling a guy yesterday. He was asking how I got into this. I'm 38, and when I must have been about 5. My grandfather gave me a HO or an HO scale train set for Christmas, and that HO scale train set became my dad's hobby. And before you knew it, we had a huge train layout, and it was just big old train layout with mountains and all this stuff. And I really enjoyed building the buildings and painting the figures and the cars and all that. So that's how I got started in building models. And then I remember going to a train show with Dad, and one of the vendors there, in addition to all the trains he was selling those little Warhammer figures.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and I remember I bought one or two, or he bought me one or two of those little figures, and I put them together and painted them with his train paint. And that was my introduction into model building. And um, when I got out of school and everything, I guess I was, what was I, 21? And we started Free Time Hobbies, because we wanted to do something together and we wanted to do something fun. And we remember doing the train set together as a kid. Um, so we decided to do a hobby store. So, um, you know, that's
How's that
how,
gone for
how it
you
happened.
running a business as opposed to just being someone who builds models? I mean, I think maybe someone like uh, like like us guys at one time maybe entertains the idea like, golly, I'd like to run a hobby shop. I love building models. I just wonder, is the business side of it, is it obviously it's a challenge and you don't
Um,
have a day off from it, but I mean, on the other hand, does it inhibit your, not so much your production? That's of course going to be subject to what your business priorities come first, but your love for the hobby.
so for me, I might be a little bit different because when I was looking to start a business, I worked online with my uncle when I was like 13 or 14. His website was one of the first 100 websites in existence. So I remember when I was 13 or 14, he asked me. He said, "Hey, would you like to learn how to sell on the internet with me?" And I responded, I said, sure, what's the internet? And so this is literally all I've done my whole life. And when I uh, moved out and got out of school and everything, I wanted to do the same thing my uncle did. And I told my dad, hey, I want to start an online business. And he had recently sold his business that he owned. So he said, hey, you know how I got the money, you got the know-how, let's work together. So that's what we did. And we decided to do the hobby business. So I got started in the business, and then when we started getting the inventory in and I started seeing all these things that, I mean, all this stuff wasn't available when I was a kid, at least not in the town I grew up in. And I started seeing all this stuff, and I remembered building all the Warhammer things as a kid. I remember building all the train stuff as a kid. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, I got to start building models again. And
Mhm.
I started learning about all the kits that are coming out, all the manufacturers. I mean, to be truthful, I learned way more about history than I ever knew before. So for me, the business kind of fueled my passion for the hobby, so to speak. Um, and now, I mean, you've heard the saying, if you do something that you love, you never have to go to work. And that's kind of how it is for me. Every day I get to go to a very large hobby shop and hang out there all day. So
Right.
I try to look at it from that point of view. Um, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of stuff to keep up with. I don't get to build as many models as I would like to, um, because at the end of the day, that is what puts food on my table, and I have to remember that it's not just all fun and games. But it is what it is, and I enjoy it.
Great. Awesome. That's great to hear that because you know, I always, had a full-time job and did my 40 hours, and I would, my model building was subject to that, and I'm not working anymore. I'm retired, and so I've got more time to dedicate to it. But oddly, with more time, it seems like it's more of a challenge to get to the bench and dedicate hours to it, where it's more like, okay, an hour here, maybe an hour there, but try to hit it every day. It's not
Right.
like I'm going to sit down and spend the entire afternoon and work through a couple of things that I want to get done. Funny how that works out, but yeah,
Oh
I've
yeah.
come to understand that I collect models at a faster pace than I build them. So
Oh,
just
I think that's all of us.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I will say this, or ask this. Um, so I'm a little younger. I wasn't building models in the 70s. I c- just building this kit here, you mentioned the old monogram kits being so nice because of the lower parts count. It seems like now, you mentioned about being able to get to the workbench and dedicate hours and hours to build. How much longer does it take now to build? I'll give you an example. This kit, this B25 kit from Monogram from years and years and years ago, if I just build this out of the box versus building, for example, the new HK models 48 scale B25 out of the box, how much longer is that HK kit going to take than this kit? Because the level of detail that we all have come to love and expect, it just takes longer to build. Then you
Sure.
start adding photo etch and all these other things to it. You turn what could be a 1 or 2 hour project into a 1 or 2 month project sometimes.
Oh, I agree totally. My problem, aircraft, I tend to build pretty much straight out of the box, not too much. See, years ago, I bought a what was it, a Messerschmitt 109, a Hasegawa kit, and I put in a CMK aftermarket set that was specifically made for that model, and it
Okay.
looked really nice before I put it in, and even after I did. But then, as you know, the 109, especially a quarter scale one, very small model, and the cockpit is like a coffin, and all that detail and all that great work just went bye bye.
Right.
And outside of the small stuff that you get, like in some kits with a little extra photo etch, like radiator screens or just the little doodads on the outside to liven up the scale appearance. That's pretty
Right.
much how I go with aircraft. Where I fall into a trap of delaying something and creating a bigger project is with armor. I've fallen into this idea, and I have to reel myself out of it. Uh, to turn every kit into a project that is like going to satisfy almost an unreal expectation I put on it, because it's got to have not so much aftermarket, but it's got to look a certain way, almost
Right.
like a Shepherd Payne model, or something that you see of guys of modern day modelers putting out. And, like for instance, I'm building the Tamiya Achilles tank destroyer, and I'm dedicating that to being just a straight out of the box kit. I'm going to build it right as it is, including the rubber band tracks, because coming up after it, I've got a couple of Dragon kits that I've always wanted to build. I created a list for myself not too long ago about what models I want to build. And
Right.
these 2 Dragon kits are coming up. And, well, if anyone built Dragon, they know that it's not just a challenge, it's an adventure. I mean,
Yeah.
you
How do you
really
like
do
those
have to
track
study.
links?
Yeah, the track links, you have to really study their
Yep.
directions. I love their molding and their crispness, but it's a lot of attention to building the model right, because the directions really require a lot of study. I'm not trying to sound any like high and mighty or anything. I'm just
Oh,
saying,
I get it.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah, and
I get calls every day, it seems, that that customers are asking, whether it's the Dragon kits or the Tacom kits or any of these new kits, they're like, "Hey, is there a do they include a one-piece rubber track?" I'm like, "I'm sorry." And like sometimes customers don't buy them because they
yes.
don't want to deal with those track links. And I get it. I've done it. I hate it. It looks
Mhm.
awesome when you're done, but it's
Oh, the
work.
labor
It's
amount is
yeah,
is, is insane. I mean, some of these kits that have 2,000 parts, almost half of them are the track links, because
right.
there's like 3 or 4 pieces per link in the assembly process. It's crazy. I mean, I agree. I wouldn't build one of those kits. I really miss. I've heard that Fruhl Model, a Hungarian metal
Yep.
track manufacturer,
Yeah, they're
for many
gone.
years is, I guess, out of business. I haven't heard the whole story myself, but that's really a
Yep.
shame, because when I first started looking around for stuff to go beyond the rubber band tracks, the guy at a local hobby shop, this is about 2005, recommended those. And he said, once you try them, you'll never go back. And it was a T34, an old Tamiya T34 85 kit that I added them to. And they're great. I mean, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
But they're I guess they're not available anymore, or they're just going to dry up the stock. But that's
Right.
really too
Yep.
bad, because there's so many 3D printed tracks and so many track links out there. But I'm really looking for those that you can either snap together or build very easily. Some I heard are even coming as a whole setup. All you got to do is just put them on.
Yep.
That's what I'm looking for. I don't want to
There's
build an entire set of track links.
yeah,
That's a kit in itself.
it is. It really is. And but that's I don't know, that's just the direction the manufacturers have taken as of late. So we'll just
Well, hopefully
see how it
there'll be
keeps going.
some. Yeah, hopefully there'll be some modification in it. I mean, as 3D printing becomes more and more of a regular thing for people,
Right.
I mean, like maybe in the next campaign slogan will be a 3D printer in every home. Because it's just so affordable,
Yeah.
and
Well, and they are
technology is improving by the day.
yeah, and they are affordable. I mean, I got I don't know how many I've got here, a bunch of them. I just ordered another one. But the big issue is it's not buying them, it's having the thing to put in them. You gotta have the file. Like, granted, you can go buy
Right.
files, people design them and sell them and all that stuff, but, if I was sitting here and I had this great idea, it's like, "Hey, I wanna do whatever to put on my kit." It's not like I can just snap my fingers and poof, here it is. Um, if you're good at 3D design, it can be as simple as snapping a few fingers and a few mouse clicks. But my point is, you do have to have the knowledge and the know-how to create a file if it's not something that's readily available on
Right.
one of the many 3D farm sites out there. So,
Yeah,
but
that's
it is very interesting stuff for sure.
Yeah, that's a frontier I haven't tackled yet, and I don't know if I'm really in a hurry to do it. I mean, it's not so much cost, because, as we know, that's coming down rapidly,
Yeah.
and ease of use is getting better. Like anything else, I mean, if you remember the first DVD players,
Oh
or
yeah.
Walkman, or whatever it is, technology improves. price goes down, ease of use improves, so on and so on.
Yep.
It's just that I would be one of those who would probably be buying files from people to
Oh
download
yeah.
and use, because
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not. I mean, I'm
And
not
and
one
that's
to
a huge
want to
business.
learn how to do CAD drawings or
Right.
whatever exact programs you'd have to learn in order to
Yep.
design your own parts.
Well, and that's a huge business. Like over here in the chat, he says there's a ton of stuff ready to print, and that's
Right.
true. I
Yeah, I
mean,
see that. Yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah.
just there's sites. I mean, but like for us on our website on our squadron, we've got a lot of stuff that we sell that we 3D print. And there's, even though there's a huge market for people that have a printer that can't design, so they're going to buy files to print on their printer. There's a lot of people that don't want to fool with the trouble. And, if you've got resin printers, they can tend to be a little messy, and some people just don't want to fool with it. So we just we print the file and we sell it to you. So there's a lot of that. You mean if you found a file somewhere that you had to have, but you don't have a printer, you can buy the file and pay somebody to print it for you. Or there's 50 billion different ways to get your 3D file. And a lot of the kits now, I don't know if you've got any yet, but a lot of kits are starting to include 3D parts in them. I know Special
Yes.
Hobby has a lot of
Right.
kits that have 3D printed parts in them. Edward does. I'm pretty sure that some of the new trumpeter kits have some 3D printed parts. Somebody at the shop was showing me just the other day an old kit that they had reissued. Something in it, I forget what it was redone, and instead of retooling it, they did it in 3D so it could be more accurate. I forget which aircraft it was, but I was like, wow, even trumpeters doing it.
Right.
So you'll see 3D printed parts. This is my favorite example. Let me grab this. So I do a lot of ship models, and in a cage mast, the battleship cage masts, you
Oh
can't
yeah.
make this in plastic or in photo etch.
That's
So
right.
yeah, 3D
That
printing
is
is the
impressive. That
only
was
way to
awesome.
do that.
That
So
is incredible.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's one of the coolest examples for me is 3D printed cage masts, and we offer those in the 700 scale for those trumpeter battleships. We'd sell them like candy because it looks so much better than the photo etch cone basically that you roll up in that kit. So there's some things that the 3D can be, you need it because it's not going to be made any other way, or you might get it because it's easy access. But in some cases, like the cage mask, there's no other way to do it accurately. And that's the really cool thing about the 3D printing is you can pretty much print whatever shape that you need. So it's neat stuff.
Yeah, I agree. There's a couple of guys who I tune into. They got their YouTube channels, and one of them was building a 48 scale Tamiya Sherman, and on his own, he designed some small details that the kit had. He simply removed the molded on parts and molded
Right.
his own grab handles and cable brackets and
Oh, nice.
headlight guards in quarter scale. You talk about something small,
Right.
and it makes a huge difference, and it's that kind of convenience, having it right there in your own home, literally, that means a new frontier for the individual modeler, if you're
Mhm.
willing to go there. But on the other hand, like you said, there are plenty of guys you can go to that would have that maybe in their inventory of files to download. You just, take it in, print them out, and there are your parts. So there's all kinds of ways to make that work. But those masks are, wow. I hadn't seen those before. They are very impressive.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And Carlos, that's the of all the 3D printed stuff, the cage mast is my favorite.
Yeah,
Yep.
you'd have
And
to
this,
solder those things to make them a solid connection. I've tried super glue with photo etch.
yeah.
Certain things work, but a lot of things need soldering.
And the cool thing about this, a lot of the 3D printed stuff, here's a little figure. The supports, they're so brittle, they just break
Right,
off.
right.
But
Yeah.
one of the interesting and cool things about this cage mast is the real design cage masts. It was a support. It supports itself. This thing is super strong. I mean, you can squeeze
Ah,
on it.
okay.
I mean, it's just
Right.
by the real design being so strong. The 3D printed one is strong too. It's just is pretty neat. I don't know.
That's great. What
I just
scale is
like
that?
this one is 200 scale. I just printed it out to
Wow,
stick on my
holy
desk
mackerel.
because it looked
Yeah,
cool.
that 200 scale ship market is just going through the roof. My goodness, it
Yeah.
seems like every time I turn around, something else is getting released in that scale. It's enormous. I saw
Yeah.
your what was the one you had recently where you unboxed it in your living room? What was that?
Oh, that wasn't a ship. That was the 35th
Oh,
scale Doro
the
rail
gun.
gun.
You're right, the
Yeah.
railway gun. I'm sorry. Yeah,
That
yeah.
thing
That
is
thing is holy
massive.
cow.
It's
Oh,
sitting over there.
you
It's
need another branch
huge.
of your home for that.
Well, I want to build it. I want to start doing a build thread on the YouTube channel, but I don't know where I'm going to build it. It's huge. So I've got to
No.
clean up. I've got to put a new table over there in the corner or something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I want to build it and I want to display it up at the shop, but it's I mean, just you're talking about something taking a long time to build. When I pulled all those parts out of the box and I'm putting them back in the box, I thought, okay, when I get the instructions out and it says use part, you know, E12 or whatever, it's going to take an hour just to find that
Yeah,
sprue.
yeah.
And I'm like, good gosh. So it's huge.
Yeah,
But
you'd have to. You're almost going to be a football coach. You're going to have a game plan before you take the field, just to know where the frets are that you're going to want to go to. You know, it's
yeah,
you're going to have A, B, and C on this part of the build. So, all right, where are
yeah.
those? You know,
I mean,
yeah, that is incredible.
it is. I think what I'll end up doing is because a lot of that is going to be repetitive. It's got those four rail car carriers or whatever,
right.
and it's got all
Yeah,
the wheel. It's got like tons of axles. So I'll probably end up doing all the wheels and axles and all that stuff first, and that'll probably eat up half the sprues. Um,
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. Like
so
any wheeled vehicle kit, there's going to
yeah,
be like you said, a ton of suspension parts to do.
yep.
And it'll be a redundancy to it that
Oh yeah,
once you get going, you'll have a system down, and before you know it, you'll have probably most of them done. But it's still that's an incredible project. I
yeah.
mean, I can
It's
hardly wait to
gonna be
see that
cool.
thing. Are you gonna document the build, or are you just gonna do it step by step as you do? Are you gonna do each process live, or are you gonna just document it and then post it as a
I
as
probably won't do it live because that would end up being extremely boring for you
yeah,
guys. Now
true,
that's
true,
not to
yeah,
say if I end up doing this Wednesday night thing weekly, at some point I'll probably be working on it while I'm sitting here talking to y'all. But my plan is to have a video camera going while I build it, and then when I get done, compile it all and speed it up like
right, yeah,
super
edit it,
super
yeah,
fast.
yeah, yeah.
And then, maybe just get on here and talk about building it because it's that's going to definitely be a big job. So I'm excited
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
well, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate. Oh, before I go, I'd just like to say this is the box cover of what I'm building right now.
Oh, okay.
It's let me see if I can get the light. Yeah, there we go. Now you can see it. And the reason I'm showing that is because I call this a nostalgia build because you're going back to like 1976 when I first started building kits, and I take with my best friend my first trip to a real hobby shop. Before that, I was
Okay.
buying my models at a five and dime store that was about 4 blocks from my home.
Right.
Anyway, I hadn't seen anything like this
Okay.
at that five and dime store. It was Monogram and Revel and Aurora, and all of a sudden I'm seeing Tamiya, Bandai, Otaki, Fujimi, Airfix, blah blah blah. And I saw this, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, "What I'm saying is that this box has that. What do you call that thing that brings about a certain emotion when you recognize it? Again, I don't know the exact term, but it's like I see this box and I go back to being a kid.
Oh yeah, a
And,
nostalgia. I
yeah,
mean,
and so I'm building it. Here it is.
now how
Right.
are you using the decals that are in the box? Are they still good? Or are you having to
I
source
bought an
something new?
aftermarket set
Okay.
through a friend of mine. They are the same. Here's the color profile that all the kits came with,
Nice.
and these are to scale. Actually, it's actually a 148 scale, size drawing. And I bought an aftermarket set because I didn't want to take the chance that the decals, which were kind of suspect even back in the day, would leave me high and dry. So I've got a decal set, And I don't know about you, but I can't seem to keep up with all the decal manufacturers that are out there. Holy cow! It's like
There are a lot.
there are probably more of them than there are paints to buy. But anyway, I've got a set and I'm ready to go. I'm going to do the Aleutian Tiger right there. That's the one I've
Okay.
always wanted. That box art has always captivated me. And so behind this one, I've got another Otaki kit coming up, and then I'm going to go on to some other stuff. But yeah, that's what that does. I see that box cover, and it just takes me back to being 12 years old. So
Well,
that's
that's
what that is.
awesome.
I'm just kind of reconnecting with my youth. And I'll tell you what, those old kits, they may be, this, that, and the other thing, but they're also old kits for a reason.
Well,
Technology
that is true.
has come a long way, and I like building them, and I'm prepared for them because I've encountered them before. But yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of modern day manufacturers at ICM. Oh my God, I'm losing my train of thought. But you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them, and people are asking me all the time, which company, I'm getting back into modeling, which brand should I try? And I'm like, if it's new tooling, it doesn't matter what brand. Everybody's really, really good these days.
Yeah.
I'm sure every brand's got its little differences, but as an overall statement, all the brands, any of the new kits they're coming up with are just really, really nice. You're talking about ICM, man, they've come a long way. And
Oh, they
their
sure
stuff
have.
is
Yeah.
super, super nice now. I
Yeah.
remember some of the early ICM kits, and they were kind of rough.
Yeah,
But
yeah. They had
now,
their beginning. Yeah.
yeah,
You go back to 2003 and the
yep.
Spitfire and the early Messerschmitt 109. As a matter of fact, I think they combined that Messerschmitt 109 and that new Mistel kit they have.
Oh, really?
Because I saw someone review it, and the molding on the JU88 is real nice and crisp, and on the 109, some flash showing on there. It looks like an older mold.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, their new stuff's just really nice. That
the modeling mecca for me, as far as like the guys who are setting the blazing the trail for stuff, is Eastern Europe and Japan and China. But really in Japan, it's to me, I mean, Hasegawa and Bandai are kind of doing local stuff more, Gundam and things like that, and people love them. I mean, they sell like hotcakes here in America.
They do.
My local hobby shop guy says he can't keep his Bandai stock, going.
Yeah.
I mean, people are buying them, and he's ordering them. So
That's
they
what
are
the
moving.
kids
But
like. Hey, a model is a model, and if that's what it takes to get the kids building models,
oh yeah,
hey,
yeah,
that's cool.
I'm totally right. I mean, like you were saying about your son, it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm 59, and most of the guys I talk to and I see at model shows are around my age.
Right.
I don't see too many younger folks doing this stuff, and I'd like to think that there are the younger folks out there. I'm just not seeing them.
Well,
because
what
I want the hobby to continue.
I think it will. It's just going to look different.
Right.
A lot of talking about the 3D printing, whether it's the Gundam or whether it's the 3D printed stuff, kids are doing what you and I would refer to as building a model, but that's not what they call it. They're printing a figure or printing a print. They call them a print. Hey, look at my print.
Okay.
I'm putting this together or whatever. But in my book, if you got to put it together and paint it, it's a model kit.
Right.
But it's just, that's I guess it's just things change, but they're doing it.
Right.
A buddy of mine, his son was talking about that, and he said, "Hey, you do 3D printing?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." And he was telling me about all this stuff, and I was mentioning model kits, and it's just like, no idea what I was talking about. But he's telling me what he's doing. I'm like, dude, that's model building. You're painting figures, you're painting things that you printed. And he's talking about all of his ships and the World of Ships and the World of Tanks game.
Yep.
All these what if things that are
Yeah.
kind of popular now. The kids love that stuff too, and that's I think that's why Trumpeter and who is it, Model Collect, and all these companies are doing these what if.
I know. Yeah.
1946.
A lot of those guys are doing the Panzerwaffe and the Luftwaffe 46,
exactly.
47.
Yeah. And that's why, because they're using those subjects in these video games, and the
Right.
kids are playing the video games, they learn about the subject, and then they find out, oh, cool, I can get that and paint it and put it in my room. And
Yeah.
it's a model kit, but
Right. Well, in along the same line, if you think about it, when I was a boy, I saw films like Tora Tora Tora, Sink the Bismarck, Midway, and others. And then I started reading books like Weapons of World War II, and I saw, pictures of airplanes and tanks
right.
and guns. And then I started reading books about World War II and World War, and that's what got me into model building. It wasn't models first, then history. It was the reverse. I saw all this stuff on television, and I was like,
Okay.
I want to build a model like that. I want,
Okay.
I want to do something like that. I see the planes flying in to attack the American fleet at Pearl Harbor, and it's like, wow, being a kid, that blew me away.
Right.
And that's how my journey got started. And
Okay.
in a way, it's similar. I mean, you play a game like World of Tanks, and it's like, wow, that really looks sharp. You're seeing it right in front of you,
Right.
practically three-dimensional.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, well, what can I do to have that sitting on my shelf above my
Hmm.
computer or something like that? So
That's right.
that's a great
Hey.
step forward for him, actually.
Yeah. Well, whatever gets them into model building and keeps the hobby alive, I guess. Right.
Yeah, well, I'm not against two-dimensional stuff, but boy, I tell you what, I got to have a model of it. It's
Yeah.
I can have all the images I want on my hard drive of tanks and ships and everything like that, but man, I prefer a 3D object that I build myself.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
anyway, I'm signing off, but it was nice meeting you and nice saying hello to everyone out there, and I hope this channel expands. I really do.
Absolutely, Jim. Well, thank you so much, and come back again. I'd love to speak with you again. Maybe you can show us your P40 there and
Yeah,
get
when
it
it's all
done. And
done, sure. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'd
Well,
love to see it.
yeah, great. Okay, thanks. Okay, Brandon, nice meeting you. And
All right, Jim.
everyone have a good night and talk to you soon. Bye bye.
All right, buddy. See you next time. Bye bye. All right. Well, I was going to try to keep tonight to about an hour. So, unless anybody else wants to jump on here and talk for a little while, which I am perfectly okay with, I guess I'll be signing off in just a minute and see how much more I can get done on this B25 tonight. But like I said, we're gonna try to do this every Wednesday night at the same time and see how it grows. And I don't know. Uh, I I don't know if it's gonna be next week or not. But like I said, I'm gonna have Dana, Bell, and David on here with me. And if that is gonna be next week, I will send an email out to our email newsletter, which you can go sign up at squadron.com. Go to the contact page, put your email in, and you'll get all of our email notifications about everything, but specifically about that, because that'll be cool. They're going to talk about writing books in general, specifically about writing squadron books, because both of those guys have written several of those in the past, and it'll be a lot of fun. So make sure to tune into that. And like I said, I'll shoot an email out at the beginning of next week and let everybody know if it will, in fact, be next Wednesday night. And even if it's not, I'll be here, and I hope you will be too. So have a great week. I'll see you next time. Have a good evening.